Hey there, everyone. An interesting perspective on perseverance. So this morning, as I was repping out the last few sets and the last few reps and the last few sets of an exercise, I was contemplating of ending that set before the desired amount of repetitions. It was, I believe, the second to last set of that exercise. And as I was doing that, as I was thinking that, something told me, you need to persevere. You don't give up. You need to keep on going, and you need to be faithful and consistent. Now, I've been working out for many years, and I've had my good workouts and I've had my not so great workouts. And sometimes the difference between an effective workout and a not effective workout, or as effective, is not reaching my targets, my goals, keep progressing. And if I don't persevere and complete the desired goals, I will not progress. I will not make progress. So as I was doing that, I quickly changed my perspective, and I no longer thought about the quitting. I just kept going, and I just trusted. In all this, as I was trusting the process and I was putting my faith in the process and I was persevering and I was continuing, it reminded me of the many times in my walk where I've shortchanged the Lord and not waiting for Him. Sometimes it's in a prayer season. We're waiting and we're just waiting on the Lord for guidance, direction, for encouragement. We're waiting for an answered prayer even. And sometimes we're in haste, and in lack of perseverance. It's easy to take the easy way out sometimes, right? Not to sound redundant, but sometimes we shortchange the Lord in acting in haste. Sometimes ending our prayers or waiting on the Lord by an hour or a day or a week or even a month or even longer. But sometimes we shortchange the Lord and not persevering and abiding in Him. Just instead of just trusting Him, trusting the process and enjoying Him in the perseverance, sometimes we act out in haste. I'm reminded of Abraham when Sarah said, "Here, take my maid." And the Lord had promised Abraham and Sarah a child. But in that waiting, they took matters into their own hands and they acted in haste. And we saw how there's that altering of God's promise and His plan by taking matters into our own hands. So, and there's other stories in the scriptures that speak to those who acted in God's haste. Now, God, with Abraham, still upheld His promise because God is not a liar. He made a covenant with Abraham. And sometimes with us, in our perseverance, in our walk with Christ, we shortchange. Instead of getting those 2 reps out, those 2 sets out, instead of trusting the process and persevering in our walk with Christ, we tend to shortchange and we end before we achieve a desired goal result. Now, I'm not saying hold out just to get yours, meaning hold out just see or walk with the Lord or persevere just so you can get a reward. For God is our reward. And waiting on Him, there's no better place to be than to be waiting on the Lord, with the Lord. But sometimes we shortchange on what God wants to do in our lives, how He wants to bless us, or how He wants to minister to us, encourage us, edify us, or maybe it's those answered prayers that Him coming through and fulfilling and meeting our needs and our requests in the perseverance. But many times we shortchange that end result by quitting a few reps and sets before, in my exercise analogy. Again, perseverance. Whenever you feel like quitting, acting in haste, or taking matters into your own hands, continue to persevere. Remember, the presence of the Lord, the persevering the waiting on the Lord, waiting with the Lord on the Lord, if that makes sense, is a reward. Everything else is a byproduct of his presence. Perseverance. Hope this ministers to you guys. God bless.